Unit 7, Tetrachords and Major Scales from the Fundamentals of Piano Theory, Level 1. So I already kind of did the outline of this, and I actually did it for the whole rest of the book too, just to kind of make these videos go by a little quicker. So a tetrachord is a group of 4 notes having the intervals of a whole step, a half step. Whole step, half step. So that's what we're going to be doing, is we're going to be writing out our tetrachords for our major scales around the circle of fifths, or most of them. And then we're going to connect them together. So our tetrachord, and then a tetrachord that is a fifth above it, starting on the tonic. So a C major, a fifth up is G. So that's the tetrachord that we're going to connect onto it. Now, in the long run, should you know what a tetrachord is? Yes, absolutely. But when you're playing the basics of music, you're not going to really hear that tetrachord being thrown out a lot. Just know that 2 tetrachords combined together, 2 major tetrachords with the intervals of a whole step, a half step, and you connect them together with a whole step equal a major scale. And they're essentially telling us how to write out these major scales and kind of some more theory from how they are constructed. So, but don't get too caught up in the whole tetrachords. Think of more of it as a, oh, well, that's interesting information. Until you get a little bit more in depth in music theory. If you're just kind of starting out with music, or if you've been playing for a year or two, and don't get too caught up in the details. So the first tetrachord that we have is C major. So C, D, E, F. And then we're going to connect it with the tetrachord a fifth above the tonic, which is C. So C, D, E, F, G. So C tetrachord connected to a G tetrachord. So I have C, D, E, F. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And now I'm going to write on my G tetrachord. G, A, B, C. And this is a C major scale. So a C major scale broken down is just 2 major tetrachords. I know that kind of seems like a what, but just kind of roll with it and practice these, and I think it'll be fun. Okay, so G major tetrachord, G, A, B, C. A fifth up from G is G, A, B, C, D. Is D major. So that's the tetrachord that we're going to stack on top. So G, A, B, C. Now here comes my D major tetrachord. D, E, F sharp, G. So I just connected the 2 scales together, the tetrachords together, and now I have my G major scale. Notice how there's 1 sharp. I have 1 sharp and a G major scale, so it all checks out. D major connecting to a fifth above, which is A tetrachord. So D, E, F sharp, G connected to A, B, C sharp, D. And now I have a D major scale. F major tetrachord is F, G, A, B flat connected to a fifth above it, which is going to be C, C, D, E, F. And this is A, F major scale. So 1 flat, and D major, I have 2 sharps. So this one is going to work out correctly. B flat major scale should have 2 flats. So I have my B flat, C, D, E flat, and now my fifth above tetrachord, which is going to be F major, F, G, A, B flat, and I have my 2 flats here. This doesn't count as its own flat because it's the same flat as this. They're both B flats. So I have a B flat and I have an E flat, so it's only 2 flats. So here it says, add the correct sharps or flats to form each major scale. And I pretty much already did this, but the second part says to circle the half steps in each scale. So if we look back at the first page, we can see that the half step is between the last two notes of both tetrachords. So I have 1, 2, 3, and 4. B to C is a half step. And then my F sharp to my G is my half step. And I'm going to circle it going down as well. D major, I'm going to be looking for my half steps here with, I have 2 sharps. F sharp to G is my half step, and C sharp to D. Make sure you get it ascending and descending. So F major, A to B flat, and E to F. Oh, nope. Nope, Ashley, what'd you do there? Nopers. Boop, 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 boop. And B flat major, D to E flat, and A to B flat. And remember, they're the last two notes of both tetrachords. Needed to push more lead up. Okay. So those are my half steps in each scale for G major, D major, F major, and B flat major. And that's the end of Unit 7. So like I said, don't get too caught up in the concepts of these tetrachords. Just know that there are 4 notes, and the interval is a whole step, a half step. And unless you're like, well, you know what, if you want to memorize it, that's awesome. You don't have to memorize it unless you're really getting into the nitty gritty with music. I'm just going to put that out there. But you know what? Some people will say, Ashley, that's not true at all. You have to memorize every single thing. Well, that's why you can reference stuff. So if you ever forget what the interval of a tetrachord is, you can just go and Google and say, what is the interval of a tetrachord? And it'll tell you. So not super necessary to memorize. But the major scales, yeah, totally memorize your major scales, because these are going to come back. We're moving from 5-finger scales up to major scales. And I think I've talked myself out of this unit now, and the next unit will be on key signatures.